Jasmine, we are so happy to have you with us. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk now. I love when I talk to professionals out there in this field. As you know, the career paths are not very well clearly defined. It's getting a little better, but it's a pretty helter-skelter industry out there. So I'd love to hear how you got into clinical trials.
I actually get into clinical trials. It kind of fell in my lap, per se, as everyone says. When I was an undergrad, I actually wasn't thinking about a career in clinical research at all, like the last thing on the list. I was really set on being a medical doctor, particularly a psychiatrist. But once I graduated and took about two courses, I realized long term, I was like, this isn't for me. I don't know if I want to be in school that long. And I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, like being that now I was kind of in it. So I decided to pivot by clinical research. My mom was like, well, this is a pretty good career. There's a lot you can do. So just try it. You're young. Just try it. So I began to
Sounds like a
network.
parent too. A parent being like, "Oh, this is a good career path. You'll have a job. There's security." I'm a parent. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was really in distress. I was like, well, I've been stuck on this plan of being a doctor. So what do I do now? Like when you're stuck, all you see is where you are, not where you can go.
Right.
So I tried clinical research. I took a class. I networked. Um, I just kept applying, and applying.
Right.
So I finally landed my first role, I think 4 or 5 months after applying, sliding into people's DMs on Facebook. I think I was on Instagram. I tried Snapchat, which is a little wonky, Twitter, everywhere, trying to figure out, well, how do you get into the industry if you don't have experience and if nobody's willing to give you experience? That's the
A
biggest
catch
caveat.
22. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that. You've been in the industry for a little bit now. Um, and diversity is a big problem in this industry, both patient population and the workforce. Seems to me we're addressing it a little better in the last few years than we ever have, and there's maybe some reason for optimism, I hope. And at least we're doing a better job identifying the problem, and you can't solve something unless you identify it first, really.
Right.
I wonder if you would talk about why improving diversity in clinical trials is so important to you.
I would say improving diversity in clinical trials is important for me because I know that if we improve the workforce and making the workforce diverse, the clinical trial population will be diverse. When we see people that look like us, it makes us more comfortable and more likely to participate in a clinical trial.
So true. Perfect. I'm writing that down. That should be on a plaque. That's perfect. Now you do a lot of work too with the great Danielle Mitchell and Black Women in Clinical Research. Talk more about that organization and your involvement and what you guys are up to. We've had Danielle on the program before, but I haven't talked to her here in a little while.
And Danielle is amazing, such a good
Hmm.
friend, and she's a great friend, as you know.
Right.
But I'm a part of Black Women in Clinical Research. I'm also their brand ambassador leader. So at Black Women in Clinical Research, we help Black women thrive in the clinical research industry. Also, a big part of us is diversifying the workforce, because as we know, if we diversify the workforce, the clinical trial population will diversify as well. So building that and creating sponsorships and relationships with the sponsors and other CROs so that we have a bridgeway with our ladies in the group and the employees at the company.
Now you strike me just by nature as an optimistic person, a glass half full person. I'm sure you have your moments. We all do. But from what I've observed, what's your feeling? Do you feel more optimistic about maybe we'll actually tackle this diversity issue on both sides and make some real progress finally?
I think so. Now that it's actually been addressed and in the open, it isn't like a topic we can't discuss. It's often do discuss. So I'm pretty optimistic about it. I know it'll take a lot of work and a lot of digging, but I think it's doable now that it's out in the open and it isn't a topic we're afraid to discuss anymore.
So, Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the work you're doing out there. Very important. Very important.
Thank you for having me.